Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell, and this is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And today is a Trader Tuesday where we're going to dive into some topics that I haven't talked about a whole lot. Normally, we just kind of go through the Varnell trading strategy and, maybe pick out a couple of tokens. But today I want to give you guys three things that are holding most traders back from really having the success that it is possible to have. And so, two of them are somewhat connected, but different. But one of the main things that happens in trading is you think the emotions run high when you're buying a token spot. Man, when you're trading, the emotional fortitude, the emotional control that you need to have is probably 10 times more important than when you're buying spot. Because in general, if you buy a token for $1 spot and then, it drops down to, 80 cents and you sell it, you lost 20%, which sucks, but it's not like life altering a lot of times. Or flip side, if you buy something for $1 and it goes up to $1.20 and you rush out and you sell it, and then it goes up to $1.50, $2, you cost yourself some money, but it was still, somewhat profitable. But with trading, a lot of times when people are doing it wrong, they're losing their whole account. They're getting liquidated. They're basically just lighting money on fire. So I want to run over here real quick and share CoinGecko and just take a quick look at the market real fast, just a little bit of a market update. You can see here Bitcoin is coming in at a little under $84,000, down another 7.2% in the last 24 hours. And I get a lot of people that are asking me, like, do I think that this is the bottom? Or do I feel like there still could be some more pain? And I really wish that I could be one of those guys that would, that could tell you which way it was going to go. But unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. And, I just have to go with what I'm seeing, what I'm looking at in the news, what I'm hearing from other people that I trust and respect. And, most of those people, for the most part, don't have any idea either. They're looking at short-term time frames and trying to figure out moves that they can make, in the 1 minute or 5 minute time frames. It's really hard when you step back out and you're looking at this, market from, a longer term perspective. We never really got down into the 70s over this, this last crazy week. If we click on Bitcoin here, we can see here that the weekly we were in the 7-day range. I guess we did drop all the way down to 78,940. And that's, people talked about 78-ish being a key level that we could drop down to. And that if we busted through 78 and headed down, that our next stop would be about 73. So we really don't know what's going to happen. And that's one of the reasons that I really want to go over, some of the topics that I'm going to talk about, the three things that I think are holding most traders back from really being able to build, massive portfolios, especially on the trading side. So the first topic and the first thing that we're going to talk about is bankroll management. So to finish this thought real quick, I really don't know. I think that until Bitcoin breaks back up above 90, 95, we have to worry about it dumping down into the 70s. At this point in time, the way the markets are, I almost don't care. Like, there would be some incredible opportunities. If Bitcoin dropped down to like 73K, I think that there would be some incredible dollar cost averaging opportunities. And I also think that there would be some amazing trades where we could get in on the absolute bottom, of some of these tokens and really be in a position, to ride them up. So, a couple of these little, tokens that I'm really keeping an eye on: Chainlink, Avalanche, SWE, So for those of you that don't know, I found out that the proper way to pronounce SUI is SWEE. SWEE is how it's pronounced. SWEE. I don't know how they get SWEE out of it, but it's SWEE, and that's kind of cool. That sounds better than SUI anyway. So SWEE. Polkadot is another one on my radar. And then when we get a little bit further down here, some of these that really feel like they have, come very close to bottoming out would be, Polygon here at 23 cents seems like an incredible token to potentially put a long in on. I just don't see it. Even if Bitcoin gets crushed off to 73, I don't see how Polygon can do much worse. Let's see what it's, so if you look at it, 7-day range, 23.75, 24-hour range, 23.27. So it's, 23 feels like a pretty big bottom. If you go back and look at the 1-year chart, you can see here that this is the lowest that you can find it in a long time. And it wasn't that long ago. A year ago, this thing was $1.27. So that's a nice little, 5 going on 6x with 10x leverage. That's a 50 or 60x just for it to get back up to $1.27. And I think that it's going to do better than that. So I think Polygon is a great token to consider putting a long in on. But anyways, that's not necessarily the theme of today's show. I want to go into a couple of things that I think are holding a lot of traders back from having success. So the first one, folks, is bankroll management. And for those of you that don't know what bankroll management is, one of the simplest explanations is if you use your strategy over and over and over and over long term, what are the odds that you will end up losing your whole bankroll? And, the reason that I love this topic and it's near and dear to my heart is as a, kind of a semi-professional poker player back in my days, and just kind of being a math guy, I really had to look at that a lot in my life because there's a couple of different variables. But let's just say that, you're a poker player. Money is your tool. If you're a cryptocurrency trader, money is your tool. Now, let's say that you are a full-time 100% professional poker player. If you lose your bankroll, if you get to zero, you have no way to earn income. So giving yourself even a small risk of ruin, even like say 5% risk of ruin, a lot of you would say, hey, if I've got a 95% chance of not going broke and a 5% chance of going broke, that seems pretty good to me. But folks, 1 out of 20 happens all the time. 5% is statistically a lot bigger number than you might think. And what you also have to remember when it comes to trading or like poker playing is you're going to have ebbs and flows. Things are going to go up and down. But in poker, they always say that you're going to have a losing streak that is mind-boggling to you and that you never believed was possible. And I saw that over the course of 10 or 15 years in my own life, where I had a couple of losing streaks that statistically were so improbable that it was even like I woke up in the morning not even wanting to go play poker that day because I was doing so poorly statistically compared to what I knew I should be doing. When you play poker, if you play for whatever 1,000 hours and you're ahead, you're ahead, $1,000. Well, you know that your average hourly return is $1 an hour. If you played for 1,000 hours and you're ahead $20,000, you know that you're ahead on average. You make $20 an hour. So now you go in and you have this streak where you know that you're averaging $20 an hour. You have this streak where for the next 100 hours, instead of making $2,000, you lose $8,000, and theoretically, that's a $10,000 swing. You lost $8,000 in a time frame where statistically your probability was to win $2,000. I also see it all the time. I enjoy watching blackjack apprenticeship, blackjack advisors. I like watching card counters. I have in my life, I've read a couple of books on card counting for blackjack, and have goofed around. I never got good enough really to do it. But I would go into the casino and try to keep the count and try to make some, make the plays, maneuver my bet a little bit. But one of the things that they talk about in blackjack card counting, that bankroll management is probably the #1 key to your success. If you don't have good bankroll management, you are going to go broke. Well, what is bankroll management? Well, I think that there's 2 or 3 aspects to it that you guys really need to look at if you want to take this part of your life seriously. The first one, in my opinion, is the total number of dollars that you can allocate to your trading bankroll. So whatever that is, whether it's $500 or $1,000 or $10,000, you want to have an amount of money preferably segregated and all in one lump sum. So rather than being like, well, I'm going to take $1,000 today, and if I lose it, I'll, take another 1,000 next week. And, if I lose 10 grand, I'm out of the game. I would rather see you guys have one lump sum. Now, that's not to say that you can't add to your bankroll, but in general, I want you to have a lump sum that's sitting there that you really are okay with losing, but that you're going to do everything in your power to not lose. And so let's just, for instance, say that you choose $1,000 is your trading bankroll. So now you have to figure out how much can you risk on any one trade. Now that's also going to partially come down to your strategy. Obviously, if you're doing the Varnell trading system where you're laddering in, well, you're going to be using bigger numbers on your second and third and fourth ladder than you do on your initial ladder or on your initial trade. But you also are probably less likely to lose all of your money because you've given yourself, a 20 or 30 or 40% dip that can happen. Same thing if you're shorting the market, you give yourself a lot more room to have some volatility and some ups and downs. So the trades that I put in last week, I'll go back and show you what happened with those trades from last week, but I'm pretty sure. So I ended up cashing them out on Saturday or Sunday when we had the big explosion in the market, and I ended up making, I don't know, we'll go take a look, but I'm pretty sure that those trades were situated to where with a couple of ladders, I wouldn't have been liquidated by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't even think that any of my ladders would have come into play except for on one token, HBAR, that had a pretty substantial dip. And I did actually put in a ladder on it as it got close to the liquidation point. And a second trade did kick in before it started heading up. But then when it headed up, I think I made 125% or something like that on that trade. Once again, we'll run over to BYDFI here a little bit later. So in general, if you have, say, $1,000 bankroll, you only want to basically start trading with 1% of it. Now, if you have the ability to add to your bankroll or replenish your bankroll, it's not a situation where if you lose your $1,000, you're just going to go broke and you can't trade anymore. Then you can figure out what works for you, but I wouldn't go any higher than say 2 or 3% at the absolute highest. So if you've got $1,000, I would start off with $10 or $20 trades. And the reason for that, folks, is if you do $10 trades, that gives you 100 trades that you can be in when it comes to your bankroll. And even if you're doing everything right, there's going to be a lot of variance. So variance is simply the difference between expected value, what's supposed to happen, and what actually happened. And so I guess the best way that I can explain this is, let's say that you and I, we're going to flip a quarter for $100. And if it was heads, you win. If it was tails, I win. So if we flip a quarter, you know, and it comes up heads, I win 100. If it's tails, you win 100. So theoretically, there's no expected value in that scenario. If we flip a quarter for long enough, theoretically, we're going to break even. But let's just say that I came to you and I said, hey, we're going to flip a coin, and every time it comes up heads, I win 100. But if it comes up tails, you're going to win 110. Well, now it's still 50-50. So you're going to lose 100 once, and you're going to win 110 once. So that means you've got $10 profit between two flips. So your expected value is $5 per flip. Does that make sense? So some people, when they first hear this example, they think that they're supposed to win $10 per flip. But remember, you're losing 100 and then you're winning 110. So you've got a $10 profit divided by two flips gives you a $5 profit per flip. But folks, if you go grab a quarter right now and you go flip it, you're going to, if you do it long enough, you're going to have some situations come up where you lose 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row. Now, of course, you're going to have times where you win 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row. But knowing that, let's just say that we know that it's possible to lose, you know, 17 out of 20 is not statistically impossible by any means. So if you got $1,000 bankroll and you're betting $100 per trade, and all of a sudden you have one of these bad streaks and you lose 7 trades in a row, now all of a sudden your bankroll is only $300. You're all stressed out, you're frustrated, you're sick to your stomach. And even then, even though you just got 7 heads in a row, you can literally, you know, flip a tail or two and then have another 4 or 5 heads. And I would say that in that example, if you had $1,000 bankroll and you were making $100 trades, you probably have a 95% risk of ruin. Like 90 to 95% of the time, you're going to end up broke before you end up with the portfolio that you want. By scaling it back to 10, you could lose 10 trades in a row and you still have 90% of your capital. And you think to yourself, or maybe you're thinking to yourself and you're thinking, you know, Brad, but that sounds ridiculous. Why $10 trades? So if I make a $10 trade and I win 100%, then I made $10. How is that going to affect my life? How is that going to change my financial situation? Well, you got to remember, folks, everything that we're talking about here, we're talking about long-term time frames. We're talking about long-term games. You know, a guy like Crypto Lifer, a guy like Sam Price, he could probably do a little bit more damage with a bankroll than we can, especially when you're starting out. You're not going to necessarily win 7 or 8 out of 10 trades like he might. You might only win 5.5 or 6.5 out of 10 trades. So you got to remember that your money is going to go up, and then as it does, your betting, your trading amounts can go up. So there's 2 ways to look at this. The other thing that you want to look at is if you really want to make sure that you're never going to go broke, let's just say that you're doing this scenario where you're taking $10 trades and you've got $1,000 bankroll, and you manage to lose 10% of your bankroll. After, you know, a few months, you haven't got it down. You're still, you know, picking some bad times to jump in and out of the market. And let's just say that your bankroll is now $900. Well, folks, if you want to really guarantee yourself that you're not going to go broke, what you would want to do at that point in time is you would want to scale your trades back from $10 trades to $9 trades, because now you are still only betting 1% of your bankroll if you lower your trades to $9. Now, I know for some of you that are sitting there watching this, you're like, why am I wasting my time watching this? This is crazy. This sounds like watching paint dry. But I'm here to tell you folks that it's a powerful concept, because you do the same thing in the other way around. Let's say you start with $1,000, you're making your $10 trades, you're doing well, and now you've got it built up to $1,500. Well, now you can start placing $15 trades. And when you get it built up to 2,000, you're placing $20 trades and so on and so forth. And you ladder your way up, and all of a sudden you've got $5,000 and you're making $50 trades. And now you're starting to, make 50%. You're making a $25 bill here. You're hitting some 100% gains. You're making 50. You're hitting some maybe 150, 200% gains. So all of a sudden, you're building your bankroll exponentially quicker. But in the beginning, it's very, very slow moving. Going from that first 1,000 to 2,000 could take you, say, 6 months. And then you're able to take 2,000 and turn it into 4,000 in 1 month. A, because you're trading at a higher amount of money, and B, because you're better. After 6 months of trading, you're going to be better than you were on your first day. So my goal here is not to tell you what your bankroll should be. My goal here is just to show you how you should work within your bankroll. And so once again, most people do not have the discipline to become a professional trader or to make serious money in trading. And this is one of the reasons why. So I'm going to go right into the second reason, and it's called tilt. And I go back to poker. Folks, when you're playing poker and everything is going right, it's the easiest thing in the world most of the time to make the right decisions, to play the hands that you should play, to make the bets that you should play, and to do the things that you need to do correctly. But I'm telling you, there's two types of tilt in poker, and I believe that there's two types of tilt here in cryptocurrency trading too. The first type of tilt, and it's not quite as dangerous as the second, is winner's tilt. And what happens is all of a sudden you place in a $10 trade and you make 100%, and you're like, that's awesome. And then you do another one and you make another 100% and you're excited. But after 3 or 4 winning trades, you're like, hey, I'm better at this stuff than maybe I thought I was. And man, if I would have been placing $100 trades instead of $10 trades, I would have been making $100 a trade. I'd be up $500 right now instead of this crummy little $50. And folks, especially if you're a guy that has a good job or a gal that has a good job, you make decent money, you make a decent living, like $50 may not be almost anything to you. Like you could drop a $50 bill out of your back pocket walking down the street and not realize it until the next day. And that would be that would suck, but it wouldn't affect your life. And folks, I understand that if that's your situation, that these little $10 wins and building up from $1,000 to $1,050 is going to seem totally insignificant and a waste of your time. But I promise you it's not. Because developing the discipline to stick with your plan is 100% of the process. The 99% of traders go broke because they don't stick to the plan. So all of a sudden you've won 5 trades in a row and you're like, guess what? Time to bust out the big guns, man. I'm going to do a $100 trade, and then you lose it, and now you're stuck. $50 for the 6 trades. So you won 5 out of 6 trades, and yet you're still stuck $50 because all of a sudden you decided to go outside of your plan and outside of your bankroll. So that's winner's tilt. The more dangerous tilt is the loser's tilt and the chasing your money tilt. So I see it all the time in poker. And a good illustration is, let's just say when I play poker at my absolute best, I'm a top tier, I'm a very good poker player, and I'm supposed to win. So I've got an A game and a B game and a C game. My A game is when everything's going right, I'm well rested, I'm feeling it, I'm excited to go to the casino and play. Like I'm just clicking on all cylinders, I'm playing my A game, and normally I crush it. Well, most people, including myself, have a B game. Well, what is your B game? Well, your B game is like when you're a little bit tired, maybe you're a little under the weather, you went to the casino and you kind of had a cold and you're not feeling the greatest, so you're having a little trouble focusing, concentrating, and really in poker, that's one of the things that you really got to be disciplined with too. I'm not going to say that's true with trading, but I will give you a few of the things to watch out with in poker, and you can decide whether they pertain to your trading. You should not play poker if you're tired. Your mind doesn't work right. You're not as focused, and you're more emotionally unstable when you're tired. So, we've all seen the Snickers commercials, and, where the person's getting hangry and acting like a diva or whatever, and then they eat a Snickers and they snap back to normal. Well, it's kind of true like that with sleep. If you're a little bit sleepy, you're going to have less emotional control. You're going to make bad decisions. You're not going to be as focused. So being tired, being sick, being in an argument, if you and your significant other have just had a big fight, don't say, well, I'm going to go play poker. I got to get away from you. I'm going to go play poker, and go play poker while you're upset at your significant other and you're in a big fight. And I think that that is probably one where you want to try to stay away from trading. And I really think that you probably should try to stay away from trading if you're really tired too. If you're sick, it depends on your sickness, but these are all the little things. Like, I'm always telling you that it's easy to become a millionaire in crypto. Really, it's not that hard to make money in poker. If you really have the desire, the skill portion of poker can be learned by, I could teach my 12-year-old kid to play a good enough game of poker to beat most people. But all of these other little things, not playing when you're sick, not playing when you're tired, not playing when you're upset with your significant other, not playing if you're stressed out about money, if you just got bad news and had a big bill come in, like all of these little things that poker players do in spite of knowing that they shouldn't, is one of the reasons that most poker players go broke, just like the way most traders go broke. So you want to have a plan and stick to it. Now, if you're one of those people that is doing so well in life that $10, building up from 1,000 to 1,050 is meaningless to you, you might have wanted to start with a little bit bigger bankroll. You want to have a big enough bankroll to where the money that you're playing with is slightly meaningful. Like, you don't want it to be big money, but you don't want it to be so insignificant that it doesn't matter. It'd be like me. Like, if I play poker at home with my family and we play, 5 cent, 10 cent, 25 cent, and everybody buys it, we all buy in for a $5 bill. And if you lose, you buy in for another $5. So like, when we play that, I play every hand. I'm goofing around. I'm playing with the family. I can lose $5 over and over and over. It ain't going to affect my life. So I play bad, because if you're playing with family, it's no fun if everybody's folding all the time. But at the same time, so you don't want to do that with your trading. At the same time, once again, you don't want to put your whole bankroll on the table. So if you've got a significant bankroll, you have to play good with it. But I would suggest that your bankroll and the amount of money that you put into your trades, that it hurts a little if you lose. So you want it to sting just a little bit. Like, you don't want to not be able to pay rent or be able to buy groceries, but you want it to sting a little bit. You want there to be a little bit of uncomfortableness and unhappiness if you're losing. And you also want there to be a little bit of excitement and, congratulatory to yourself if you're winning. You just don't want to swing too far on either end of the spectrum. But so what happens with most traders and most poker players is they can make some money. They make good money playing their A game. When they're playing their B game, it's hit or miss. They might win, they might lose. They're probably about break even. But then everybody has their C game, and their C game is when the wheels just totally fall off. Like, somebody raises in front of you, you look down at, ace-7 offsuit, you should fold it. And even you're logically, like, you're literally looking at the cards going, I know that I cannot play this. And while you're looking at the cards, telling yourself you cannot play this, your hand literally reaches down and picks up poker chips and throws them into the pot. And you're like, why did I do that? Like, literally, you're watching the action as it goes around the table, and you're thinking, you dummy, why in the world are you playing this hand? And then, of course, you end up flopping an ace. And now you can't fold because you got a pair of aces. but you know that the person that's betting has you beat probably, unless they're just making some, suicidal, maniacal bluff. But you can't handle the emotion of losing. You're already stuck. You've already lost a couple $100 or a couple of buy-ins, and you want it back. And that's what the tilt of losing is. Like, you bought into a poker game for $1,000. You're down to $500 or $600 of it. You want your $500 or $600 back. You want it back, and you're willing to do whatever it takes. All of a sudden, you're willing to gamble. You're willing to throw your strategy out the window. You're just willing to play any two cards and just try to get lucky. And inevitably, you're going to lose 9 out of 10 times that you go on tilt and you play like that in the poker table. You're going to end up losing whatever you took to the poker room to play with that night. And it's the same thing in trading. You got your $1,000. You're making your trades, but you just lost 6 or 7 in a row. You're down 60, $70, and all of a sudden, once again, this bright idea, hey, if I just make $100 trade, I've just lost 6 in a row, I'm due to win one. If I just make this $100 trade, I can get back all 6 of those losses in one trade. And guess what happens? The first time you do it, it works. I swear to goodness, it'll work for you almost every time. And I believe that that's the devil messing with you. The devil wants to get you right where he wants you. And so you're going to win that first time. You're going to do that $100 trade, and boom, you make $100. And you just took the $50, $60 that you were stuck, and now you turned it into a $30 or $40 profit. And guess what you do? You go back to your discipline. You go back to your $10 trades. And all of a sudden, though, you're on another losing streak, and you remember that $100 trade and how well that worked for you. So now you down to 970 of your 1,000 because you were ahead a little bit after that trade. So now you lose another few trades. You do the $100 trade, and guess what? It doesn't work. And this time you lose your money. Now you're down to 860, and you're frustrated with yourself. You're mad. And you're emotional, and you're like, you know what? I can't lose 8 trades in a row. Let's bet 200 on this next trade. You bet 200 on the next trade, and you lose that trade, and you're down to $650. And you're frustrated. You're like, I've lost almost half of my bankroll. I did exactly what Brad told me not to do. Like my wife or my husband's going to ask me how the trading's going. I can't stand to look them in the eye and tell them that I lost $350. I told them I was going to stick to $10 trades. And if they ask me, how in the world did you lose $350? I either got to lie, or if I tell them the truth, then they're going to say, hey, you didn't stick to your plan. You didn't do what you told me you were going to do. Like, all these crazy thoughts will come in. You might not even be telling your spouse about your trading, and you'll still have crazy thoughts like that. What if they find out? And blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, you think it's a good idea to do another $200 or $300 trade, and just boom, you just blew up. You end up with $0 in your account. Your $1,000 bankroll went to $0 in one day because you went on tilt. You lost emotional control. So what do you do to fix that? 2 things. Number 1, you have a plan. So the first thing that you got to do is have your bankroll and have a plan. You're going to bet 1% of your bankroll or 5% of your bankroll, whatever. I can't tell you the number. I can tell you that 1% gives you a very, very high likelihood of never going broke, especially if you lower it as you lose your bankroll. As I mentioned earlier, if your bankroll goes from 1,000 down to 900 and you go down to $9 trades, your bankroll goes from 900 to 800, you go down to $8 trades. And same thing on the way up. You go from 1,000 to 1,100, you go to $11 trades and then $12 trades. You don't have to wait till you get to 1,500 to go to $15 trades. You can literally do it at 1,100 and do $11 trades. The second thing, you got to be man or woman enough to quit. So we are all human. And no matter how hard you try to not go on tilt at the poker table, and no matter how hard you try to not go on tilt trading cryptocurrencies, you're gonna. So just be prepared for it. Just remember right now, you are not unnormal. We are not robots. God made us emotional creatures. So no matter how logically prepare yourself and you are not going to go on tilt, you are probably going to go on tilt. And I'm telling you, you are not going to be man or woman enough to get control of it in the moment. The only way to beat tilt when it's really full set in, like you can tell when it's coming. Every single one of you have had an experience where you went from being, fairly normal, in a good mood, everything was good, and then something happened. Doesn't necessarily have to be financially. It could just be something that your spouse said to you or whatever, something your kid comes home from school with a bad report card, and you start to feel that emotion rising up in you. Now, you're not on tilt yet, but you kind of feel it coming. Well, during that time frame, when you feel the tilt coming on, there are some things that you can do about it, and you may be able to get control of it in that moment. But I'm here to tell you that once it just gets full blown, you're on tilt, you're emotional, you're yelling at your kid, or you're yelling at your spouse, or you're just, frustrated to the point of tears, or you just, you know that feeling. You feel it in your stomach. You feel it in your heart. When you get to that point where you know that you've lost control, get up from your computer and go do something else. You are not going to get control of your emotions to the point where you are going to make successful trades while you're in that state of mind. Nobody in the world almost is superhuman enough to overpower that emotion and bring it back into check just through logic, just through talking to yourself and telling yourself, hey, I'm on tilt and Brad told me this was going to happen, but I can work through this. I can still trade. I can go. I need to make money today. Like I'm telling you, just turn off your computer and get away from it. But those two things are the two biggest reasons that most people don't have any success in trading, folks. You know what's interesting about this to me? I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but we've talked now for 42 minutes and I haven't said one word about technical analysis or the strategy, when to place a trade. I haven't talked about 200-day moving averages. I haven't talked about, resistance and support. I haven't said anything about technical trading terms, because none of that matters if you don't have these other two things in place. You could be the best trader in the world, and I'm telling you, if you don't have proper bankroll risk management and you don't have the ability to overcome tilt, you're going broke. I would rather all day long and twice on Sunday, I would rather back somebody that has good bankroll management, proper risk management, and that understands their emotionalism and doesn't trade when they're getting emotional about it. Trading is very robotic. You look at the setups. Once you learn to do these other things that I'm talking about, then when you learn the strategy, it becomes very robotic. Because the trade, there's no emotion in trading. You're just looking at the charts, and the chart either tells you to take the trade or it tells you to not take the trade. And I'm here to tell you, though, that even though once you know that, you're going to be tempted to start to gamble. Like, oh, I've seen this setup a few times. Yeah, it hasn't broke through the 200-day moving average, but I'm going to go ahead and take a long before that happens so that I can make extra money when it wins. That's an emotional decision. That's where you are overriding the robotic system part of the trading. But I want to just go back, the thing that I'm mentioning there is, folks, this is a huge lesson in life. And, hopefully the reason you guys come listen to me is because I tell it a little bit different than most of the other people that you're out there. If you're watching, most traders will talk about this stuff a little bit, but they're all about the technical analysis, and they want to teach you, how to look at resistance, how to look at support, how to look at, the moving averages, how to look at the fear and index greed, and all of that is fine, and that's all dandy. But if they don't teach you how to get this 6 inches between your ears right, you're not going to have lasting success. And that's why we do the Monday mindset. And same thing, whether it's the same thing in every area of your life, whether it's a poker game, whether it's crypto trading, whether it's just crypto investing, all of these things still come into play. Like, you should have a bankroll, and you should have, a strategy when you're buying into spot trades too. I mean, you don't need quite the same kind of discipline when you're just buying and holding as you do when you're trading, but it all comes back. All of this emotional control stuff is the key to winning, long-term in life. And so I am going to get into the third thing, and the third thing does have a little bit to do with the technical part of trading, but it's not necessarily, it's still a mindset thing. And so on top of bankroll management and on top of tilt, can anybody in the chat, we're going to give $25 in USDT to the first person who can guess what the third thing I'm going to tell you is, the third mistake that most traders are making that keep them from growing a 7-figure portfolio. First person to guess it in the chat wins $25. So I'm going to let you guys do your guessing. So we talked about bankroll management. We talked about tilt. What is the third mistake that most traders end up making that ends up causing them to not have long-term success in trading? Selling too early. Good guess, but that is not correct. But thank you for participating and for trying. I'm going to go back over here to my CoinGecko, and then I'm going to run over here to BYDFI while you guys are guessing. So there's a handful of you on here. Somebody's going to get, nope, Sky Crypto. I like your thought process, but it is not the ability to not take profits. But thank you so much for guessing. Maybe panic in the market. Nope, it's not panicking in the market either, XM Textile. Who else? We're going to go over here. I've got my BYDFI. We're going to go over here to trade. We're going to get over here into the derivatives. And we're going to go do a little trade here before we hop off, because I got a good feeling. About some Matic, folks. Looking at Matic all the way down at let me see here, Polly. Let's get over here. Hope it's see, dang it. Even just in the little bit of time that we talked about it being down in the 23s, it has already popped up to 24. So we got a couple more guesses here. We got Rami says getting greedy. Or wait a minute, that's not the right one. Getting greedy and failing to take profits off the table when it begins to retrace. Nope, that is not the answer that I am looking for. Poor risk management. We already talked about that. That was one of the first two things. Setting a stop loss. No, that's not the main reason either, guys. Tim, stick with your plan and trust your instincts. No, I mean, that's definitely a key and something that we've talked about, but that is not what causes most people to fail at leveraged trading. So exit plan. Dave says exit plan. Nope, that's not it. Overexposing a position. No, that's not quite it. Once again, think about leveraged trading and one of the biggest mistakes that most people end up making. That's the only clue I'm going to give you. Scott says trading without a plan. Nope, that's not it. Buying when coin pumps. Nope, that's not it. Knowing when to get out. No, that's all part of, kind of the bankroll and the risk management within reason, but that's not the biggest reason. For those of you that have done any trading with leverage, just think about one of the biggest mistakes that you've ever made. There we go. Cardano finally wins, and it looks like he just got it in there a split second in before you, Timmy. Tim, I'm sorry, I shouldn't call you Timmy. I don't know. I've got a friend named Ken that, man, if you call him Kenny, that really bugs him. And so I didn't mean any disrespect by saying Timmy. Apologize, Tim. But anyways, don't over leverage. Don't over leverage. So Cardano is the future. Congratulations. I'm going to send you $25 worth of USDT or USDC on the Polygon network. So if you want to update your bio, so go update your bio in your YouTube channel. I guess I should show that real quick. Go update your bio. And hey, this is a really good video that I was just watching. These 11 books reveal the secrets of the rich. Dan Martell, incredible video. And he really talks about some incredible books that I think would be amazing for all of us to read. But I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go run to my YouTube channel. You guys probably all know this already, but here onto the live stream. So Cardano is the future. Want to make sure, yep, don't over leverage here. And we're going to go to your channel. And so, yeah, you're just going to update. You're just going to update your about here with a MetaMask wallet, Trust wallet, something along those lines that is actually a that actually will accept Polygon. Polygon. On a totally separate note, what do you guys think, guys? I've been thinking. You see how here where Cardano is the future joined on October 28th, 2022. So I've been kind of looking at it. It seems like when we feel like we're getting the most bots and we're getting the people that are trying to scam the giveaway, it seems like they're always having created their account just recently in like 2025. So I'm almost tempted, to tell people that have an account that was created in 2025 that they aren't going to be eligible. Like we go look at your profile here, Tim. You got, you joined over a year ago. If we go most of the people in the chat, if we, go back to the chat, most people in the chat, if we go even here, Scott Acker, we go to his channel, joined 4 years ago. So it feels like most of the legitimate people joined several years ago. I just kind of hate to discriminate because, if I make that rule that anybody that just created an account like in the last 2 months, that then we're going to get some new person that really just got into crypto and that really loves the channel that's going to win a giveaway. And then I don't pay them because they just got their YouTube set up. But I am looking at this. So for future reference, if I think somebody's doing something kinky, doing something funky and just trying to win the giveaway, so even here 5 months ago, that's, before I started doing the giveaways. But if I start seeing people that just basically created their YouTube account last week, then I'm gonna, at my discretion, I'm gonna figure out the best way to do that. But I also like this way, like by asking a question like that, we got some participation in the chat. And, and you guys obviously all have to be here watching the video in order to participate. So that ain't a bad way. Yeah. Is USDC Polygon address okay? Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm going to be sending it on is I'm probably going to be sending it. Well, one of the two. It'll either be USDT or USDC, and it'll be on the Polygon network. So either one of those will work fine. So let's get back over here to BYDFI. I really got to decide if I want to make this trade or not. I don't love this, like this would have been maybe the next time I see an incredible entry like that. Man, when we were looking at poll here and seeing that it was at 23 something here, not that long ago, I should have jumped in because it doesn't seem like a big deal, but you understand that, one penny is basically 5%. So from 20 cents to 21 cents is a 5% gain. And with 10x leverage, that turns it into a 50% gain. So if I would have got into this at, 23, like I was looking to, I would already be up, say, probably 25 or 30%. Let's go over and look at, I want to show you guys my position history. Is this? Yeah, so you guys can kind of see here these are the 3 trades that I made last week while we were on the show. All of them were 10x longs. And you can see here, I actually got into VeChain at 2.747 cents, and I sold it at a little over 3 cents for a 41.96 percent gain here. And then same thing with the aerodrome trade. I made 146 on the aerodrome trade, and then I made $44 on that trade there for the Polygon Matic. And you see here, I got into the Polygon Matic at 26.45, and it ran up to over 30. So, I mean, that's, you know, on one side, I'm looking at like, hey, 24.73 is a lot higher than 23 something was. On the flip side, I was pretty excited about taking this trade at 26.45, and now I have the ability to get in on this at about 24.34. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to just pop this in at 24.30. So this is how you do a trade, because I want to show everybody. So the first thing that you're going to do when you get into your BYDFI account, you're going to want to go to trade, and you're going to want to go over here to the derivatives tab, and you're going to click on USDTM. This is almost always going to take you to the Bitcoin chart, and you can see here it's no mystery as to why it's pumping, why Polygon is pumping, because we just watched Bitcoin go from 83.3 all the way up to 85.3. So that's why it's, you know, it's rolling. So then in order to get to Polygon, you go to these 3 lines here, and then you can either just scroll down here, or you can just type in this search bar the ticker to the token that you want, and then click on that here, and that'll take you to Polygon. And so it looks like it's kind of on its way down. So maybe we'll just go down to 24.20 and see if that hits. I like to go a little bit lower. It's kind of fun when you can get into a trade and it's in the money the whole time. So I'm going to go down here to 24.20, 24. Well, it's going. Anyways, that's fine. 24.18, whatever. And then we got to move some money over here. So there's nothing available. So I got to transfer some funds. So in order to transfer some funds, we got to get down here. What is going on here with the screen? I am logged in, right? Yeah. So I got, usually there is a little button right here that shows me, okay, so they kind of changed it. It used to have one of these little squiggly arrows. Now it doesn't. So from spot to USDTM. So we are going to click over $100. And now you can see here that balance changed. We've got $100 in our account. And we are going to go ahead here at 24. What do we got it set at? 24.18. We're going to go ahead and do 35%. So about a $35 bill. Now you want to double check. I forgot to mention this up here. We want this on 10x isolated. So you can double check that. You can move this around. I want it on 10x isolated. And so that's good. So here we are. So we're going to go ahead and hit the long button again. And then we are going to confirm this trade. And immediately, did that go through? What's going on with my screen here? Just taking a minute to, let's get back over here to derivatives. I'm trying to figure out why this is not seeming to pop up as quickly as there we go. So we've got orders 1. And so this is Polygon. We're got in it at, so, this may not hit for us. We got to go, let's click back over here to Polygon and see. It's getting close. It's down to 24.23 if it just bounces down another little split second. But anyways, orders 1, Polygon, $35 in at 24.18. And, so let's see. We'll kind of keep an eye on that, see if it hits. If it doesn't hit, I might go cancel it and then, you know, pop back in and do a new one. But I got a feeling that it's going to kind of run down and execute. So then the second thing, I like to see that it executed before I go do my first ladder. But I'm going to do the other $65 in on a ladder. And if you guys don't, you know, if you want to just do rough math, so we're in this token at 24.18. See what we got going on here. Got 24.18. So 10% of 2.4 cents or of 24 cents is 2.4. So if we take 24.18 minus 2.4, that takes us down to about 21.78 cents. So just to make sure that I am in good shape if this thing runs down, I'm going to do a second trade here. This is the ladder effect. So rather than doing stop losses, I'm going to do this. So this is the difference between my trading strategy and a lot of other people's. I'm not going to put a stop loss in on this. I'm going to put in another trade down just above the liquidation point so that if this thing does run down to 21, 22 cents, it gets saved. So I just said it would be 21.78 cents. So let's just do 22 cents even. 22 cents even, and we're going to do the remaining $65 at 22 cents. And I can't tell, not showing very well if it's going through immediately or not. We're down, there we go. So it should be executing. We're at 24.18. I don't know, it doesn't look like ours quite executed yet, though. It bounced to back up to 24.20. This is still only showing, oh, it did take, okay, here we go. So here's our position. We got our position, and then look here. So our liquidation price, I was pretty close at 22. Our liquidation price is 21.94. Yeah, 21.94. And I've got an order in that will hit at 22. So if for some reason this thing runs back to 22 cents, this $65 order will happen, and I'll have $100 in this trade. And if you want to make it even safer, now that, you know, we're going to have a 22 cent, you take 22 times 10%, that's 2.2 cents minus 22. That means with a second ladder, we could get all the way down to about 19.8 cents. So what I would probably do is go in at around 20 cents and do another ladder for probably around 100 to 150 bucks, depending on my bankroll, hoping that it never comes down to 20 cents, and it very well might not. But if it does come down to 20 cents and I get another 100, 150 in at 20 cents, I'm still pretty happy about that, because 18 cents, if you take, you know, 20 cents minus 2, it'd have to go all the way down to 18 to get crushed off. So you're talking about, you know, pretty significant downswing after it's already had a significant downswing. You got to remember, go back over here to you know, this, it was just sitting at 75 cents here on December 6th. And even if you go back, you know, a little bit closer, on January 31st, it was at 39 cents. So this has already had a pretty big retracement. I mean, just even, you know, like all of this in here at 30, 32, 33, 34 cents, to go from that all the way down to, you know, 24 cents is, from 30 cents to 24 is already a 20% decline. So I don't expect this to have another 20 or 30% decline, but I'll be prepared for it if it does. So let's get back over here to the third point, and then get on with our days here. So the third point, folks, let me get off of there. The third point is that most traders end up trading with too much leverage. So you got your bankroll situated, you got your tilt control under control, but once again, the third way that most traders start getting greedy is they think, hey, I'm winning these trades with 10x leverage. I'm winning these trades with 5x leverage. If I was to do 25 or 50 or 100x leverage, I could just be absolutely crushing it. And what'll end up happening is you're going to do some higher leverage trades, and you see how fast you can get stopped out of these things, right? I mean, like, you have to be watching them like an absolute hawk. Like, if you would have been shorting the market here at, 23.29 cents. So let me just, to do the, I want to make sure I'm giving you guys good information. We take 0.24 times 1%. That is 0.0024. So it only have to go plus 0.24. So it only have to go from 2.4 cents or 24 cents to go to 24.24 in order for you to get liquidated if you were at, 100x leverage. And we just watched it. I mean, just a second ago, it was all the way up here. It had bounced up to 24.70, and then it came all the way back down to 24.18, and our trade executed. So, like, literally, when you start doing these 50 and 100x leverage trades, you could get liquidated in a matter of seconds. There's literally times, if you catch it wrong, where you can have a trade execute, and then during the time frame that you're going to do your stop loss and you're trying to, get things situated, it could literally, in just a matter of a few seconds, liquidate your trade on you. And then what if you don't have the emotional control to stick with the leverage that you've got planned out, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go on tilt, because it's another form of tilt. Using too high of leverage is another form of tilt. It's another form of greed. It's another way of trying to shortcut the system. And so, folks, any of those things, anytime you're looking at taking a shortcut and trying to do something faster, you really want to be careful. I'm not saying that all things that are faster are worse. There's a lot of things in life where people just never question the status quo. And, like, how many times in your life have you heard, hey, we've always done it like that? Well, folks, hey, we've always done it like that is a sure formula for losing too. So I want you guys to be creative. I want you to have, different thoughts. I mean, the Varnell trading system was all because I didn't want to do it the way everybody else was doing it. I didn't want to be stuck behind a computer screen having to watch my trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I also didn't want to have to put in years and years at becoming a technical trader, like, that understands all of the the moving averages and all of the stuff. Like, I'm slowly learning that, but I wanted to make some money now. And so my strategy, this is what you do. You go over here to CoinGecko and you search for coins that you think have bottomed out. So an example of a coin that I wouldn't necessarily be thrilled to leverage these days is Cardano. Like, I love Cardano. Is Cardano going to be a great spot buy? Absolutely. Is it after, just jumping up here in the last week? Like, this thing was down at 58 cents and it's back up now. It's at, 92 cents today, and it dropped all the way down earlier today. It was at, right here. It was all the way, where was it? I guess it was here. It was all the way down into the 80s earlier today, just not that long ago. In fact, if we go to the 24-hour, you can see here 76 going on 77, all the way up to as high as 95. So I love Cardano, and I would love to buy it. I don't know how excited I would be about longing it right now, though, because of this incredible volatility. This could be a trade that, yeah, if you can keep it in play, it could turn into a massive trade for you. But I would rather find a token, like another one that I'm super excited about right now, that I would definitely like to leverage. And one of the reasons I want to leverage this one is I was telling you guys the other day that I really want to buy this token. I want to buy this token and be staking it and earning 14-15% in interest on it. And so I'm going to probably put in a trade on some Cosmos. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the profits. Then once I make the profits, I'm going to use those profits to buy the Atom token and then stake them in Coinbase, so that my trading portfolio is also helping my long-term hold and my passive income. But look at this thing. If you look even during the worst part of the worst parts here, this was all the way back in November, right before everything started going up, it was $3.98. You know, this was in the last year, $3.98. Just in even recently, it's been, you know, hanging out between $4 and $5. So to me, at $4.15, this thing is relatively close to the bottom. And with a 10x leverage, you get about 40-cent difference. So from what would that take you down to? About 65. So $3.65 would be your first laddering point. And then if you do 365, that's another 36. That takes you all the way down to around 329. So you can literally do this trade with Cosmos, do 2 ladders, and have yourself all the way down to about a $3 Cosmo. I don't think we're going to see $3 Cosmo. If Bitcoin crashes down bad enough that we get $3 Cosmo, just rejoice and put in another ladder. But what I just wanted to see here, we got I bought Cosmos 3 years ago. I have had it staked the whole time, and now I have 1.5 to original amount of Atom bought. Awesome, Caleb. That is beautiful, man. And I was just talking about Atom on my Microcap Gem live stream on Wednesday, and a great way to, you know, start to look at earning some passive income in this market. So thank you for saying that. What are the disadvantages of trading futures? Well, the biggest disadvantage is getting liquidated and losing all of your money. So, you know, real quick, let's just say that you had $1,000, Dave, and you went and bought, you know, a token that was $1 token, and you bought 1,000 of them, and then Bitcoin goes down to $50,000, $60,000, and all of a sudden your token is worth 50 cents. And you're unhappy because you've only got $500 in value. But in that scenario, you still have the 1,000 tokens. So next week or next month, when Bitcoin goes ripping back up to 100, now your token goes back up to $1 and you're even. And then when Bitcoin goes to 150, you know, 200, your token's all of a sudden a $4 or $5 or $10 token. And you were basically able to withstand that 50% retracement in your bag because you weren't trading futures. You weren't trading with leverage. With leverage trade, if you buy a token at $1 with 10x leverage, if the token just drops by 10% and goes down from $1 to 90 cents, your position gets liquidated, your whole $1,000 is gone, and you now have 0 tokens. So you don't care if the very next day it bounces back up to $2 because you ain't got any tokens left. So when you buy with spot, you're protected from the swings within reason, as long as you don't panic sell the market. Like if you got a token that you're in at $1 and you think is a good buy, you think it's a great token and you're happy to have gotten it at $1 and it drops down to 50 cents, why in the world would you sell it? If anything, you should go buy another $1,000 worth if you can. And now you've got 2,000 tokens and your average cost now is only 75 cents instead of $1, if that makes sense to you. So when you're trading with leverage, you're trading with futures, you can lose 100% of your money and not have anything left for the comeback. And that's the biggest disadvantage of it. How can one set up a stop loss on Binance, or maybe set it up when it can automatically sell off after reaching a particular high? Dave, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure exactly where you live, but I would highly recommend going and getting a BYDFI account so that you can follow along with these trades and you can actually see how I do it here. Because right here, like on BYDFI, I can go over here to my position and I can go over here to take profit stop loss and hit that little pen looking thing. And then I can set it up to do whatever I want here. So let's say we got into the trade at 24.18. So let's just say that I only want to lose, I'm only willing to lose 10% of my money. Well, then I can go in here to the stop loss and type in what is 0.238. So if we sold this when it got down to 238, it would automatically trigger a sell. You can see here that I would lose 5.49% of my USDT, which is a 15% downswing. So we want to set it slightly higher than that. Let's see it at 24 where we're at. So at 24, we lose $2.60 and we lose $7 or 7.44%. So like 23.95 gets us to 9.51%. So if I wanted to put in a stop loss and know that I couldn't lose any more than 9%, 9.5% of this trade, I would just do that. And then I can come here and do the same thing with the profit. So you can do both. So I could come in here. Let's say if this thing runs back up to 35 cents, I want to sell it. I just type in 30. Yeah, you can't see it. I forgot. I guess if you're on a phone, you probably can't see it. But like, so if I type in here, Dave, that I want it sold at 35 cents, that would give me 447% profit, and I would make $156 on that trade. So if you go get a BYDFI account, Dave, you will be able to see it on your computer, and you're helping out the channel. Technically, these guys are official sponsors of the channel. So if you just go into the description of this video and click right here, BYDFI, go create your free account and start trading. That's going to take you to the partner page, and you literally, all you have to do is just put your email and your password in. Right now, American citizens, Canadian citizens, basically all of the world, except for in restricted countries like Cuba and Iran that are restricted pretty much by everybody, they welcome all customers. And if you're a United States citizen, you don't have to KYC. You don't have to use a VPN. They're not looking to block us. They're not looking to kick us out. That's one of the reasons that I decided to allow them to be sponsors of the channel, was because I wanted most of my viewers that were here in the US to actually be able to use a platform. I don't want to be recommending something like MEXC Global that has kicked United States citizens out of their platform. Let me see here. Want to go back up. I don't want to be forgetting any questions. So Dave says, yeah, most of the time changing the norm changed results and sometimes makes it more positive. Yeah, absolutely. John Lopez, welcome, welcome, welcome. Is CoinGecko decentralized or centralized? I guess you would call it centralized. CoinGecko is just a spot where I go do my research. So it's just a website, coingecko.com, and it shows all of the tokens. You can see up here, it tracks over 17,000 tokens. And it basically just gives you the ability to do your research on a project. So like, say that I've been talking about this Project 10 that is a sponsor of my channel that I like, and you want to go take a closer look at it. Man, this thing's just been getting hammered. I would tell any of you that are looking for a token that is like a super, super high risk, high reward, this thing is down at a $170,000 market cap. Its all-time high was 44 cents, and right now it's down at 0.006. I mean, its all-time low was only 0.003, so it's only up about a 2x from its all-time low. I was buying this token at 1.5 to 2.5 cents, and I'm still excited about those buys. But this might be an incredible token to dollar cost average into. But besides that, so you go now, you have the ability. You can see its market cap, its fully diluted market cap. You can tell, where you can buy it. And then you've got all of its socials. You can go to its website here, ongame, ongame.dev. You can look at the website, see everything that this token is about. You can also, go over here and click on its Twitter, and you can click on its Telegram, and so on and so forth. You can literally do some really deep research on tokens before you put your hard-earned money. But I would say that it's technically a centralized website, but you don't actually hold any funds there. You're not actually placing any trades, buying any crypto there. You're literally just evaluating and doing research. John says to DCA Cardano, I think that is definitely a good play. I definitely like Cardano. Cardano is the future. Yep, I agree. What do we got here? Richie says that's one of his favorite features of BYDFI. William, good morning, William. Hope you're doing fantastic, my friend. Richie, which chats are you talking about? What are your thoughts on XRP? I skipped right over that one. So Richie says, what are your thoughts on XRP? Well, my thoughts are that it's going to be, a fantastic token. A lot of people don't understand why, we're putting it into the cryptocurrency reserve, but I don't really care why. All I know is that between the adoption and everything that is taking place, and that I believe that this thing is just going to continue to get more and more and more mass adoption, we're of the opinion here that XRP is going to be a $10, $15, $20 token during the peak of this bull run, and that if something crazy happens, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see XRP at $40. So I'm extremely bullish on XRP and definitely think that it is another great token. I would never hesitate to tell somebody if they wanted to be dollar cost averaging into XRP, I would definitely not try to keep them from doing that. Does the market cap of coins determine if it's a good project and if one can make gains from the coin when bought? Yeah, Dave, the market cap is certainly a huge indicator of how much you can make. So if you go here, if you're looking at these top tokens that are in, the $256 billion for Ethereum. For Ethereum to 2x and to double in price, that's a whole lot of money that has to go flowing into Ethereum. Where if you take a token like that token in that I was just showing you, and I mean, like, for anybody that wants to test it, if you were to go to MEXC Global right now, you can literally go buy probably $1,000 worth of this token on MEXC Global, and that would probably raise the price, 5, 10, 15%. If you wanted to go buy $10,000 worth of token right now, you'd probably double the price. Because it's only $170,000 market cap. So yeah, market cap definitely plays a role. That's why, another token here, like I was talking to these guys yesterday, this Skillful AI agent token, sitting at a $2 million market cap. So in order for it to 10x and for us to make, 10x on our money, it's only going to be still at a $20 million market cap. Where once again, if you go up to some of these bigger coins, even if you slide down a little ways and just go, say we look at number 50 here, this is at $2.3 billion. So this thing has to go all the way to $23 billion, where the Skillful AI token that I just shared with you would only have to go to $20 million market cap. And in both situations, we would make a 10x on our investment. So like on the live stream tomorrow, when we're doing the microcap gem live stream tomorrow, the tokens that we're going to be talking about are tokens that we believe have the ability to 50, 100, potentially even do bigger numbers than that. And part of the reason is because they're lower market cap tokens. Like Ethereum is not going to 100x during this bull market. Now, can Ethereum 100x in our lifetimes? Yeah, I think it possibly could. Like if you're around in 20, 30 years, could Ethereum be a $200,000 token? Yeah, I do think it could be, because I also think that Bitcoin is going to be, Bitcoin's going to 100x. Bitcoin to be a $10 million token would have to 100x from 100 grand to get to 10 million. And I believe we're going to see $10 million Bitcoin, but we're not going to see $10 million Bitcoin this run. You know, I'd be thrilled with $200,000 to $300,000 Bitcoin, but over the course of the next 15, 20 years, yeah, you could 100x your Bitcoin. Like if you're 25 and you just want to, you know, buy Bitcoin and retire by the time you're 55, you could definitely just do nothing but buy Bitcoin and watch it, you know, 100x over the next, you know, handful of years, way better than any stock you could probably buy. But yeah, that's what you know, market cap does for a token. Do you think bagging Dogecoin would be a profitable business later on? I mean, I'm not really big in the meme coin business, but because, you know, Doge obviously has the, you know, the same acronym or the same ticker as the Department of Government Efficiency, and, you know, and has a, you know, some people like Elon Musk that are kind of part of it and stuff. I think that it's definitely gonna do well. It's been a top 10 token or so for a long time now. Can you guys believe that? Like, when you really think about it, Doge being a top 10 token, it's kind of crazy to me, but I don't see it going anywhere. And there's certainly no reason why, as this market peaks and Bitcoin runs back up, that Doge can't, you know, go up and become a $1, a $2, or $5 token. I mean, I don't know for sure where it would go. For the most part, I'm not buying a lot of these tokens that are in this top 10, top 15. I want to buy tokens that have the potential to do some extraordinary numbers. And the ones that I do buy are ones that where I can make some, you know, where I can earn some interest. Like Polkadot is another one that I really like. I know a lot of people think Polkadot's dead. I disagree, you know, but right now you can buy Polkadot and it's pretty close to bottomed out. It's another one I would consider trading. But you can buy Polkadot and you can stake it in Coinbase for, I forget, it's, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%, somewhere in that ballpark, you know, a relatively significant little ROI. You know, I mentioned it the other day that most people that are in the stock market or, you know, buying mutual funds in their 401k, they're happy if they can make 10, 15, you know, % on their money. And you know, in a lot of times you have a very limited upside. You don't see a whole lot of stocks that over the course of a couple of year period of time are 10xing. You know, I was telling a story. I've got a very well-off relative that's done very good for himself. He invests in a stock that's got about an 8% dividend, and he's been buying it for 20, 30 years, and it's never been lower than $5, and it's never been higher than $10. He just 100% invests in it to get that 8% yield. And I'm telling him, hey, like, you can go buy Atom on Coinbase and get 14 or 15% yield, and you're in an asset that its all-time high was $50. And right now it's down at $4. So you're going to have the ability to turn your $4 or $5 Atom into $20, $30, $50 Atom, along with getting a 15% ROI instead of 8. But he's older and doesn't understand crypto, and he just, you know, doesn't want to, you know, mess with it at this age. With the recent hacks on exchanges, where do you think one can store coins, store coins, centralized or decentralized? I mean, really, the best answer, in my opinion, is neither. You want to have your real true wealth in cold storage. You don't want it in a decentralized application. Even, you know, like, you know, if you've got too much money on MetaMask, you're kind of, you're begging for something bad to happen to you. There's so many phishing expeditions and so many bad links going around and so many things going on. If you think that, you know, having a MetaMask account and just having it password protected is going to be enough to protect your crypto, I really want you to highly reconsider that. You know, so we are in conjunction. I've got one coming in the mail. I've got a Tangem hardware wallet that I'm getting ready to share with all of you guys. But my long answer is Coinbase is about as safe of an exchange as I believe you can ever get. But I still would not want to have too much of my wealth locked up in Coinbase, because like a bank, they can decide to freeze your account. They can decide that, somebody reported you as a terrorist, and the U.S. government, said, hey, we want you to flag their account, and you can't make any withdrawals. Now, you might be able to go through the process. I'm not saying that you wouldn't get your money back, but there's a lot of us out there that if we lost access to our funds for a month, 6 months, a year, that would be devastating. So even with something as safe as I believe Coinbase is, I wouldn't want to hold too much money in there. Same thing with these exchanges. Like with BYDFI, you don't want to have more money on BYDFI than you can risk, than you can afford to lose. You just saw it with the Bybit hack. Like, you never know. Now, Bybit, I don't think any of their customers actually are losing any funds, but not all the exchanges out there are anywhere near as solvent as Bybit. So now with BYDFI, they've never been hacked in the history of their exchange, which is about 5 years old now. They've never been hacked. They've never lost any of their customers' funds, but that's no guarantee that it can't. So in general, decentralized is way safer than centralized. And then on top of that, cold storage is really where the biggest part of your portfolio should be. Your long-term holds should just be in cold storage. With today's technology, it doesn't take that long to take a cold storage wallet, get it plugged into your computer, get some tokens sent over to an exchange, get them sold, and get the money transferred out to your bank account when the time comes. So that is my answer on that. And with that, folks, I was planning on, I swear to goodness, I'm glad I didn't say it. I was planning on today only being about a 30, 45-minute show, and here we are an hour and a half in. So with that, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations, Cardano, on winning the $25. I look forward to sending that over to you. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow on the Microcap Gem live stream at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. God bless. Take care. See you tomorrow.